Welcome to Come Get Woo Woo. We're your hosts, Becky and Ro, here to hold space for the unseen, the unspoken, and the deeply felt. This is a place for seekers, for those who sense that there's more, for those who hear between the words, feel beyond the room, and know without knowing why.
Together, we'll explore the language of spirit, the clarity of your clairs, and the signs that rise up when you're ready to notice. You're not imagining it, you're remembering it. This is Come Get Woo Woo.
Have you ever been laying in bed, just about to fall asleep, when something happens that you can't explain? Maybe your body suddenly felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds. Maybe it felt like you were floating. Maybe there was a strange vibration or loud buzzing or a moment where you knew that you were awake, but your body wasn't responding. Most people brush those moments off and go back to sleep. But what if those experiences are actually pointing to something much bigger? What if the moments between waking and sleeping are where our awareness begins to experience reality a little differently? If you have ever wondered whether there is more to those strange sensations, then this episode's for you. Hey, woo-woo seekers, welcome back to Come Get Woo-Woo with Becky and Ro. I'm Becky.
And I'm Ro. Today, we're stepping off the map of the physical world and learning how to navigate the fluid terrain of astral travel. We're going to be talking about that specific, quiet threshold where the ordinary rules of time, space, and gravity begin to soften, and how your attention, not your effort, becomes your primary way to move. We're going to demystify the transition itself, diving straight into the high vibrational intensity of the body shift, the roaring wind tunnels, the deep internal buzzing, and the heavy physical stillness that so many people mistake for a warning when it's actually just the engine starting up. We're also going to explore the unique responsiveness of this realm. We'll show you how the environment acts as a direct mirror to your internal state, amplifying your curiosity, your emotions, and your memories with an immediacy that can feel startling if you don't know how to navigate it. And finally, we're going to talk about the vital shift from trying to control the experience to adopting the light, open posture of exploration and learning how to let go of the steering wheel so you can enter a true partnership with the landscape of your own consciousness. This isn't an elite destination for the chosen few. This is the natural country your soul visits every single night. So there comes a moment, usually when the world has gone quiet, where your body feels still, but something inside you is very much awake. You may have felt it before without realizing what it was. That strange in-between where you're not fully asleep, not fully here, and yet you're aware. Not thinking, not dreaming, just aware. For most of us, that moment passes quickly. We shift, we wake, we pull ourselves back without even knowing we've done it. But what if that space isn't a glitch? What if it's a doorway? In this episode, we're not asking you to believe in anything or force an experience. We're simply inviting you to notice something that may have already been happening your entire life. Because traveling to the astral realm isn't about going somewhere far away. It's about learning how to stay present as your awareness begins to loosen from the physical and step into something far more fluid. A space where the rules feel different, where the sensation replaces structure, and where the first instinct is often to pull back, even though something deeper is asking you to lean in. So before we talk about what exists there, before we explore the layers or encounters or meaning, we begin here, at the edge, at the crossing, that quiet, unfamiliar threshold where nothing looks dramatic from the outside, but everything is about to change from within.
As excited as I am to get into this episode, before we go any deeper into this conversation, we want to invite you to help us expand the Woo Woo Seeker Grid. If this episode has you pausing or noticing things a little differently, please take a second to hit the follow button and leave a review. It might seem small, but it's a powerful way to ground the energy of this conversation and help other seekers find this path. We see you, we appreciate you, and thank you so much for being here and building this space with us. I also want to add the perspectives shared in this episode are explored through a spiritual and seeker-based lens. Our intention is to inspire curiosity, reflection, and conversation as we journey through the concepts to better understand our own energy. This content is shared for entertainment and personal exploration purposes, and it is not intended to replace professional, psychological, medical, or mental health guidance. So, what is astral travel? When we talk about traveling here, we're not really talking about going somewhere physically far away. We are talking about shifting your awareness into a different frequency, one where the rules of the physical world don't apply in the same way. It's a state where the internal world, your thoughts, your feelings, becomes the very ground you move through. In that space, you're no longer a body moving through the room. You're a consciousness moving through something that is alive and responsive. It meets you, it shifts you, it reflects you. And that's why recognizing the feeling of it matters so much. Because if you're expecting a physical destination, you might miss the actual moment everything changes. The transition isn't loud and dramatic, it's subtle. A kind of weightlessness, a vibrational stillness, a sense that something has shifted, even if you can't name how. And once you're there, the idea of traveling becomes much simpler than we make it. It's not about distance, it's about attention. Where your focus goes, your experience follows. It's a bit like tuning into a radio. You're not going anywhere new. You're just adjusting your frequency until something that was always there comes into clarity. And when you start to think of it in this way, not as a journey across space, but as a shift in state, it takes the pressure off. There's nowhere you need to get to. There's only something you're allowing yourself to be in.
When we say the rules of the physical world don't apply here, it helps to understand what that actually feels like as an experience. If you enter this space expecting it to feel like walking down a physical street or even like a vivid cinematic dream, you might sail right through it without realizing you were there. The astral landscape doesn't announce itself with loud visuals. It begins with a softening of the boundaries you take for granted every day. Take time, for instance. In our waking life, time is a rigid conveyor belt moving at one speed. But in this state, time becomes elastic. A moment can feel vast and spacious, stretching out like an entire afternoon, even though only a few minutes have ticked by on your nightstand clock. You might feel a profound sense of stillness, as if you are suspended in a gap between seconds, completely free from the rush of the day. Movement changes too. In the physical world, if you want to get across the room, you have to engage your muscles, push against gravity, and take steps. Here, the effort actually works against you. The harder you try to push or force yourself to move, the more anchored you feel. Instead, movement comes synonymous with attention. You don't walk toward something, you simply offer it to your undivided focus, and the space responds by bringing it closer. It feels less like traveling through distance and more like leaning your awareness into a specific direction. Even the way you perceive things shifts. In a dream, you are often swept up in a plot, reacting to events without realizing you're dreaming. In the astral state, you possess a crystal clear, quiet clarity. You are not thinking in sentences or analyzing what's happening. You are simply absorbing it. Sensation replaces structure. You might perceive a color not just with your eyes, but as the texture or a feeling of warmth. You might sense the boundary of a room not by looking at the wall, but by feeling where the energy of the space changes. It is incredibly subtle, almost like a thought that has taken on weight and dimension. By understanding that the rules have softened, you can stop looking for a dramatic physical destination and start tuning into the quiet, fluid reality that is already answering to your presence.
See, this is why I'm so excited, because I've probably had astral travel and not even realized it.
I remember before YouTube, before Google, and we'll get on this a little later, but when you begin to separate, there's this feeling. I can't remember if it was a feeling or a buzzing or something. It scared the crap out of me and I stopped.
So fear actually stopped you from continuing.
Yes, because I wasn't sure.
Don't you think it's a little hard when you're first starting because you don't know? We're more seasoned now, so I feel more comfortable with doing a lot more things.
Right. And, back then there was no YouTube, nothing to really say, should I be feeling this way? Or, what was that? So,
Yeah, no. Like I said, I'm very excited about this episode. Actually, one of the things that Echo talks about when she's talking about astral travel is you'll notice it when babies, a lot of times when they wake up and they go from nothing to all of a sudden they've got this big, huge intake of breath before they wake up. It's them returning to their body.
Very interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's what she talked about anyway. It's really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm actually going to go over some of the clairs with this, if you're up for that.
Yes, awesome.
So once you begin to understand that this fluid realm is consistently responding to the subtle ripples of the inner world, the very practical question naturally rises. How do I actually look around? How do I navigate or understand where I am if my physical eyes are closed and my physical hands are resting motionless on my bed? When most of us begin to explore the area of astral travel, we bring our physical expectations along with us. We subconsciously assume that waking up inside astral realm will feel exactly like opening our eyes in the morning, that we will suddenly see a high definition, three-dimensional world with crisp edges and bright lights and solid structures. But if we wait for that specific kind of physical sight to happen, you might just miss the entire experience. In this realm, you leave your physical sensory organs behind, but you do not leave your perception behind. Instead, your physical senses translate into intuitive faculties, what we often call the clairs. And on the astral plane, these faculties become your eyes, your ears, and your feet. For the vast majority of us, the primary anchor in this space isn't sight at all. It's clairsentient, which is the ability for clear feeling. In the physical world, you feel things with the surface of your skin. In the astral world, you feel things with the entire density of your awareness. It is the full body knowing of texture, weight, temperature, and emotional atmosphere. But you see an astral landscape, you will likely feel the vibrational weight of it against your consciousness. You might step into the space and instantly perceive a sense of ancient stillness, or a light, breezy frequency of joy, or a thick, heavy density of old thoughts. You navigate this not by walking, but by leaning into the sensation that feels aligned with peace, treating the emotional texture of the space like a physical path under your feet. As you settle into this feeling, your clairvoyance, which is clear seeing, begins to activate, but it does so in a way that is profoundly different from your physical vision. Astral sight rarely functions like a pair of glasses. Instead, it usually begins with a subtle overlay in your mind's eye. It feels very much like a way a memory looks when you recall a favorite place, or the way an image flashes in your awareness when you are reading a deeply descriptive book. It might start as a sudden, brief flash of light, of color behind your eyes, a geometric pattern that seems to pulse with light, or a sudden impression of a doorway or a horizon. The trick here is to look through that image rather than at it. The moment you try to strain your physical eyes to see it clearer, you engage your physical facial muscles, which pulls you right back to your heavy body. You have to allow the visual to sit quietly in the background. So trusting that it has weight and reality, even if it feels light as a thought, and guiding both your feeling and your seeing is clear cognizance, the gift of clear knowing. This is your internal cosmic map. In a realm where space is fluid, you don't need to analyze an object or a landscape to understand what it is. You don't have to look at a structure and decipher its architecture. Instead, you experience instant downloads of information. You look at the light or an edge, and you simply know its meaning, its history, and its purpose without a single word being spoken. It is an immediate, quiet certainty that bypasses the analytical brain completely. It acts like an instantaneous navigation system. The moment a question forms in your awareness, the answer is already present within the fabric of the space around you. When you understand that navigation in this realm is a tapestry of feeling, receiving impressions, inner knowing, the pressure to see something dramatically, completely dissolves. You stop waiting for the cinematic movie to start playing behind your eyes, and you begin to honor the subtle, beautiful sensory language that your consciousness is already using to map the universe. I have to say, this is put together to give a better illustration of what clairvoyance is, because I made that mistake so many times. And I know we've talked about it in different episodes, but I thought if you had clairvoyance, you were able to see the ghost at the end of your bed, which some people can. That wasn't my case.
Not mine either.
And now I know, like if something pops in my head and it's a memory, that's clairvoyance. To me, it was like that I was experiencing it, but I didn't know that was what it was. And it took me a while to get that down.
What I like about this here is it's taken away the need to force things to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And just let it be.
Right. So no pressure. If you see something, you go and you see it. And if you don't, all right.
Love it.
Yeah. I'm going to let you take it from here.
Okay. It's easy to feel like the astral realm is something you have to search for, or a place that requires some rare, high-level ability to reach. But the truth is so much simpler than that. You've already been there. In fact, you brush up against this state every single day, usually without even realizing it. Think about those moments right before you fall asleep, or that soft, hazy space you wake up in, just before your mind starts filling with thoughts and plans. In those moments, your body is completely still, but your awareness hasn't fully turned off. It lingers. It hovers. You're not fully here in the physical room, but you're not fully gone either. That in-between space isn't just drowsiness. It's a threshold, a quiet crossing point between the physical world and something more fluid, more responsive. And the more you begin to recognize it, the more something shifts. The pressure to get there starts to fall away because you realize you already are. This isn't an elite destination that requires a special skill or a perfect mindset. It's a natural transition your awareness already makes every night. The only difference now is that instead of slipping past it, you're beginning to notice it. And in that noticing, something opens. You're not learning how to go somewhere new. You're learning how to stay just long enough to recognize the space you've been stepping into all along. We've gone over that before. I believe it was in a manifestation.
Yeah, I agree. I think so. Yeah.
That in between of right before you go to sleep, you're kind of awake and you're kind of not. What is it called? Do you remember? No. Is it hippo something or other or no?
Yeah, it's called hypnagogia. I mean, fun fact.
You began with an H.
Yes, you're very, very close.
And we talked about it in different episodes as well, but I think the first time we actually brought it up was in the manifestation episode.
I don't remember, but you're probably right. So I'm going to introduce us to the body shift. What happens? So when we talk about the body shift in this state, we're really talking about the moment where your body and your awareness begin to move at a slightly different rhythm. Your physical body is starting to settle into a deep sleep, while your awareness is still awake, still present, and for a brief window, you're right in between the two. It's often in this space that the body begins to communicate in ways that can feel unfamiliar and even incredibly intense if you aren't expecting them. Sometimes this shift begins in the ears. You might suddenly hear loud buzzing, a rushing sound of wind tunnels, or even a high-pitched electronic tone that feels like a radio frequency locking into place. It can sound like static or a ringing doorbell, or even a sudden, startling snap right at the edge of your hearing. Physically, the sensation can amplify just as quickly. It isn't always a gentle tingling. You might feel a heavy, crushing weight on your chest, as if a weighted blanket has been pulled over you. Or you might feel an intense electrical surge, a vibration so deep it feels like your entire body is shaking and oscillating at a massive speed, even though you are completely motionless on your bed. You might feel a sudden sweeping sensation of falling backward or a strange magnetic pulling that makes you feel lopsided. These sensations can feel incredibly surprising, and your brain's natural survival instinct is to treat them like a threat. The ego panics, the heart rate spikes. The immediate urge is to gasp, to shake your foot, to rip yourself fully awake just to make sure that you're safe. But nothing here is going wrong. Your body is simply crossing a major energetic and physiological boundary. Those loud sounds and deep vibrations aren't external disruptions. They are sensory signposts of your brain dropping its physical filters. They are a roaring sound of an engine starting up. It is the friction of your awareness detaching from the heavy density of your physical body.
And this is the part that I got scared at.
Probably. I totally get it, though. And our brains and our egos really prevent us from doing a lot of things because of fear.
This is true. Yes. But sometimes you need that fear, you know?
No, I agree. Yes, fear is good when it's warranted.
Right. Agreed. But when you don't know what's happening, so now you know that this is a possibility, that you're not going somewhere unknown or something weird is happening to you. Now you know that you can continue. But yeah, I was afraid of this. So the next part I have is tethering and trusting the anchor. Do you want me to go over that?
Yeah, and I think this is pretty big, so I think we're tackling it together, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Take it away.
As we stand at this doorway, listening to the roaring sounds of the engine starting up and feeling the deep internal vibrations of the shift, it's completely natural for a hidden subterranean fear to ripple through the subconscious mind. It's the whisper that trips up so many seekers just as they are about to cross the threshold. If I let go of this heavy physical density, if I truly allow my awareness to loosen from this body, will I be able to find my way back? Could I get lost out there in the vastness of this fluid realm? Could I become disconnected? This fear is completely human, and it's actually a beautiful sign that your ego and your physical body love you very much. They are simply trying to do their job, which is to keep you safe and anchored to earth. But this hesitation is based on a fundamental misunderstanding of what you actually are. We have been taught to think of our physical body as a cage and our consciousness as something trapped inside it, like a bird in a box. We think that if we open the lid, the bird will fly away into the sky and be gone forever. But the truth is much more beautiful than that. Your consciousness is not inside your body. Your body is inside your consciousness. The physical form you inhabit is an incredibly powerful, deeply loving magnetic home base. It holds an organic, unbreakable gravity over your awareness. When you travel into the astral realm, you are not ripping a thread out of a piece of cloth. You are stretching a piece of perfectly elastic silk. In many ancient traditions, this connection is described as a luminous silver cord, a brilliant strand of pure energy that connects the heart or the brow of your physical form to the traveling aspects of your awareness. You don't need to visualize this cord or work to maintain it. It is inherent structural part of your existence. It cannot be snapped, it cannot be tangled, and it cannot be dissolved by anything you encounter. Because of this brilliant built-in safety line, the reality is that you can never, under any circumstances, get lost. You don't need to remember the way back. You don't need to drop breadcrumbs through the frequencies or keep a map in your mind. The return journey requires absolutely zero effort, zero direction, and zero navigation. In fact, you're staying out in the astral realm requires far more focus than coming back.
The moment a physical thought crosses your awareness, the physical anchor instantly claims you. If a car horns outside on your street, if a dog shifts at the foot of your bed, if your body needs to take a deep breath or change positions, or if you experience even a tiny flicker of genuine panic, the silver tether snaps taut. In that fraction of a millisecond, faster than the blink of an eye, your awareness is reeled all the way back home. You will instantly find yourself back in the heavy density of your limbs, hearing the hum of the ceiling fan, and completely awake and completely intact. When you realize that your physical body is an unconditional anchor that will always pull you home the moment you need it. The last remaining layer of tension begins to melt away. You don't have to hold on to yourself with one hand while you reach out with the other. You can afford to fully surrender to the transition. You can let go of the shoreline completely, knowing that the ocean you are floating on is intimately connected to the very ground you rest upon. And if you can allow yourself to stay with it, if you can remind yourself in that exact moment of the intensity, I am safe, my body is just falling asleep, something beautiful happens. The roar turns into a hum. The intense shaking turns into a tight, buoyant weightlessness. And the sensation stops feeling like a barrier you need to fight and start feeling like a launch pad you've been waiting for. You don't have to force anything. You don't have to make anything happen. This isn't about doing. It's about allowing your body to complete a process it moves through every single night, while your awareness stays just present enough to witness it. And once you start recognizing these sensations for what they are, the entire idea of trying begins to dissolve. There's nothing to force, nothing to chase, and nothing you need to perfect. This is something your body already knows how to do, night after night. The only real difference is whether you notice it happening. And once that becomes familiar, the next question naturally opens itself. What actually exists within that space once you're aware inside it? There's often a moment where awareness notices something changing. Am I asleep? Am I noticing this? Did I lose focus? But that questioning itself doesn't mean the experience is ending. Sometimes it's simply awareness, realizing it has reached unfamiliar ground. I just found that really interesting. I think we a lot of times try to force things, and this just kind of, it'll happen. It's already happening. We just don't know it. We don't have a name for it. But I do have to say, listening to Echo talk in her class, everybody asks that question. What if I get lost? It is like the number one question every time that she's done a talk about astral projection.
Yeah, I could see that question over again,
I had that question.
Yeah, because it's like, well, what happens if I can't get back? What happens if the string is lost or snaps? But it never does.
Nope. I have to start distinguishing dream from travel.
Yes. Yeah, I was about to say, is it really dreaming? Because I don't think astral travel is dreaming.
No, I think it was in a book I read once. And I don't remember what book it is. But they wanted to check on somebody, and that was like in the middle of they were doing a talk or something like that. And they astral traveled and sat in the audience. And later on, they saw that person and they're like, were you in my class? It was something like that.
Isn't there a projection, Claire, as well, that we went over?
There is.
Yes. So it's similar to this. It must have been in clairvoyance or a couple of them. But I want to say clairvoyance, where you can project yourself to see how that person is doing, sort of like what you were explaining.
Yeah. I know we hit on it a couple times in a different episodes, but I don't remember which ones.
Mm-hmm. It's not something we normally talk about.
No, we don't.
But people can astral travel like that, like really, really quick. They know how to put their body to sleep.
We'll have to do an experiment. Maybe see if we can astral travel. Because I have been to your house. Let's see if I can astral travel out to your place.
Oh, there you go.
I have to
I'll
try
do
that.
that. I'll have to astral travel you to your place, even though I've never been there. But I've seen the inside on camera, so
Very true when we went to go see the turtle.
yes.
Well, you want to go on the next one?
Yes, that echo of responsiveness. Because this space is so fluid, it responds to the texture of your inner world with an immediacy that can feel startling at first. In the physical world, if you feel a sudden surge of curiosity or a flicker of anxiety, your external surroundings remain exactly as they are. But here, your internal state is the very medium you are moving through. If you feel a wave of intense curiosity about something, that object or space doesn't just sit there, it seems to open up, drawing your awareness deeper into its details as if it's answering your questions before you even form the words. Your attention acts like a spotlight. Whatever you shine on it becomes amplified, vivid, and alive. By that same token, your expectations, emotions, and even fleeting memories carry a unique weight. If you approach an edge with a sense of hesitation or a sudden urge to protect yourself, the environment might mirror that tension back to you, feeling a bit heavier or more restricted. It isn't that the realm is trying to frighten or challenge you. It is simply that it lacks the rigid buffers of physical matter. It is the space where a thought doesn't stay hidden inside your head. It becomes an instant ripple in the water around you. When you understand this, you realize that the experience feels alive because it's constantly participating in dialogue with your consciousness. It is the mirror that doesn't just show your reflection, but allows you to step inside. We're going to go over this a little more in the astral levels when we go over them.
Oh, exciting. Very exciting. So I'm actually going to go over awareness versus control.
Oh, yes. Go for it.
As we stand here in this threshold, looking into the world that responds to your very thoughts, this is one final quiet distinction we need to make. It is the difference between awareness and control. Because our waking minds are so used to navigating a physical world where we have to make things happen. Our secret instinct when we enter a responsive realm is to try and control it. We want to direct the movement and dictate the scenery and command the experience. We treat it like a test that we need to pass or a destination that we need to conquer. But the control is an act of friction. It requires tension, effort, and rigid holding on, the exact thing that anchors us to our physical waking state. The moment that you try to force the space to do your bidding, the magic tends to dissolve, and you find yourself pulled back into the heavy, familiar stillness of your room. Success in this realm doesn't look like control, it looks like collaboration. You are not the director of a play. You are a participant in a dance. Your role is simply to remain awake enough to notice and open enough to allow. When a sensation rises, you don't need to steer it. You just need to witness it. When the environment shifts, you don't need to fix it. You just need to feel it. Think of it less like driving a vehicle and more like floating on the ocean. You aren't controlling the waves, but you are entirely aware of how they move you. You're present, you're curious, and you are letting the current carry your attention. So as you find yourself at the quiet edge tonight, when the world goes still and the boundaries begin to soften, lay down the need to manage the outcome. Let go of the desire to do it right. There is nothing to conquer here. There is only a beautiful, fluid conversation waiting to happen between the universe and your own awake, quiet awareness. Just notice, just stay, and see what opens. That was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. It was beautiful. And again, it takes the pressure off.
Absolutely.
It does so much better when you try not to force it.
Yes, absolutely. That's the whole purpose, not to force it. Don't do it. I am going to go over the posture of exploration, if that's okay with you.
Perfect. Sounds wonderful.
When we replace the desire for control with simple awareness, our entire relationship to the experience changes. We move out of the mindset of passive bystander, and we don't fall into the trap of trying to be the director. Instead, we adopt the posture of an explorer. There is a very specific energy of exploration. It's active, but it is completely free of demands. An explorer doesn't step into an unknown land demanding that the mountains move or the weather change to suit them. They step forward simply wanting to see what is actually there. They are led by a soft, open-ended curiosity. In this state, that curiosity is your greatest tool for movement. If you find yourself in a space where the rules have softened, you don't need to force a destination. You can simply ask yourself with a sense of wonder, I wonder what is around that corner. Or, I wonder what this frequency feels like if I lean into it. Notice how different that feels from a command. A command creates tension in your awareness. A question, however, creates an opening because the realm is responsive. That light, inquisitive thought acts like an invitation. The space opens up not because you forced it, but because your curiosity naturally pulled you forward. This shifts your relationship with the unknown from one of hesitation or management to one of playful discovery. You are no longer wondering if you are doing it right, because in exploration, there is no wrong turn. Every shift in scenery, every change in sensation is just more terrain to discover. You're simply traversing the landscape of consciousness, traveling not by the strength of your will, but by the gentle current of your own interest.
Doesn't it just make you want to go to bed now so you can actually do some of this?
It does.
Just an FYI, it's like 8 o'clock.
It's a little later here. It's 9.
This is true.
I just love that you just walk in there with curiosity and wonder, not like I demand to speak to my guide right now, but I love it.
I think this is the type of approach that we need to take to daily life all the time. I mean, think about how many things that you would actually get done if you looked at it more of a curious, lighthearted, of like explorative way. I don't know. It resonates very well with me right now.
Yes, because we love our rabbit holes.
Yes, we do, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
It's been a while since we've gone down a Friday night rabbit hole. We have to revisit some of those. We do them on our own now. So when the exploration draws to a natural close and that gentle, elastic pull of the physical body gently coaxes your awareness back across the threshold, you will find yourself opening your physical eyes to a familiar sight in your bedroom. You will feel the weight of the blankets, hear the distant hum of the traffic outside, and realize that you are fully, completely back in the world of form. But even as the heavy density of the physical matter settles back around you, you quickly realize that something fundamental has shifted. You have not returned empty-handed. A journey into the astral realm is never just an escape from reality. It is an acquisition of a very specific kind of spiritual medicine. And the true magic of this practice lies in how you integrate that medicine back into the waking, walking life. The first thing that you bring back with you is a profound disillusion of what we might call the illusion of solidarity. In our day-to-day lives, we treat our worries, our financial stresses, and our personal obstacles as if they are massive, unmovable mountains made of concrete. We feel trapped by the rigid structures of the physical world. But once you have spent time in the realm where thoughts instantly ripple through space, where your internal state directly shapes the ground beneath your feet, you return to this world, realizing that the physical plane is simply a slow astral realm. It operates on the exact same energetic mechanics. It just takes a little longer for the physical world to catch up to the shape of your mind. You begin to walk through your days with a quiet, powerful sovereignty, knowing that your thoughts, your intentions, and your internal frequencies hold more creative power over your daily life than you ever realized before. You also bring back an extraordinary sense of deep tissue rest for your nervous system. In our modern world, our bodies are constantly bombarded by gravity, sensory overload, blue light, and a perpetual tension of maintaining a physical identity. When you allow your awareness to loosen from that structure, even for just a few moments, you afford your spirit a state of weightless, unburdened freedom. It is a deep cellular replenishment that standard sleep cannot always reach. You wake up feeling a sense of spaciousness in your chest, an inner quiet that acts as a natural buffer against the frantic pace of the collective world around you. But perhaps the greatest medicine you bring back from the threshold of a beautiful, unshakable expansion of your sense of self, once you've experienced the vivid reality of being completely awake, present, and aware outside of your physical form, the fear of limitation begins to loosen its grip on you. You stop identifying purely with the heavy, fragile vessel of your body or the fleeting stories of your ego. You remember that you are something vastly larger, more fluid, and more enduring than the world gave you a name to believe. You return to the physical map not as a fragile creature trying to survive this dense world, but as a vast, multidimensional consciousness that is simply choosing to visit it for a little while. As you step out of bed and walk into your day, you carry that light, high vibrational perspective with you, transforming the ordinary world simply by remembering the magnificent, responsive country you belong to when the lights go down.
As we close this deep dive, I want to give you something to try tonight. So after this, you could do this, Becky.
Okay, sounds good.
Don't do it right now. Do it later. When the world has gone quiet, the lights are out, and you are finally crawling under your blankets. When you lay your head down on the pillow, make a conscious choice not to just turn off your mind and slide into the dark, but instead, as your body begins to grow heavy and the familiar stillness takes over, gently notice the exact boundary where your skin meets the sheets. Feel the weight of gravity holding your limbs, and then look inward. Notice that even though your eyes are closed, and even though your body has completely surrendered its movement, there is an aspect of you that is still vividly awake. A part of you that doesn't feel heavy at all. A part of you that feels light, spacious, and humming with a quiet, wordless presence. Ask yourself in that stillness, who is the one that stays awake when the body goes to sleep? The limbs resting on the mattress. That is the manifest. That is the physical vehicle you use to navigate your waking life. But the weightless awareness hovering just beneath the surface, that is the traveler. That is the infinite fluid consciousness that is entirely unbound by gravity, time, or the heavy rules of the physical world. You aren't a solid, fragile human being trying to force yourself to leave your body. You are a vast, multi-dimensional spirit who is simply learning how to step out of its waking costume for a little while. You are the sky, not the bird. When you realize this, the entire pressure of your life completely shifts. You are no longer just a character trying to survive the dense, rigid plot of your everyday routine. You are the consciousness that encompasses it all and nothing. No chaotic day, no overwhelming stress, no sticky static of the lower astral can ever hold you down. The true expanse of what you are. You are not trying to learn how to travel to a faraway realm. You are simply remembering that you've been stepping across the threshold every single night of your life. So tonight, when the hum begins and the boundaries soften, just stay, just notice, and see what opens. And you can also try our podcast companion meditations on our YouTube channel at Come Get Woo Woo, which take you through 2 beautiful astral journeys. One we'll put out this week and one we'll put out next week. So, Becky, what are we doing next week?
Well, Ro, next week, we're taking the map that we built today and we're going so much deeper. We are diving headfirst into the 3 layers of the astral realm. We're going to be breaking down the exact mechanics of the lower level, which is that dense, heavy zone right above our waking beds, where you might see your own room, but the rules of reality have already begun to blur. Then we're climbing to the mid layer, that massive fluid space built by thought and imagination, where you can explore entire landscapes formed out of pure intent. And finally, we'll be touching the edge of the higher layer, where form completely dissolves and you are interacting with pure light, ancient guides, and cosmic truth. We're going to show you exactly how to navigate between them, what to expect in each space, and how to consciously tune your frequency to find them. You are not going to want to miss that. And here are the words for this week from the Woo Woo Seeker's Journal, A Journey for Your Signs and Symbols, Book 1. Nostalgia and peace. See what rises. See what resonates. You can find the meditations for these words on our YouTube channel at Woo Woo Seekers. All the words can be found with direct links in our newsletter that can be found at comegetwoowoo.com. With new meditations released the first of every month, if you want to deepen your own journey, explore our other meditation series: Sacred Tree, Soul's Garden, and Whispering Coast, also available on our YouTube channel at Woo Woo Seekers. If you haven't tried our intuitive gym yet, go to comegetwoowoo.com and test your intuition and mediumship skills in a fun, grounded way. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks for getting woo-woo with us today. If something sparked a memory, a message, or just made you smile, share it with a fellow seeker, because the journey is always better when you can grow together. Be sure to find us on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube at Woo Woo Seekers, so you can like, follow, and subscribe.
You can also follow us by visiting our website, comegetwoowoo.com. We are so much more than just another podcast. We're building a community of seekers just like us. We love hearing from you. If you've got signs, symbols, or stories that you want to share, email us at woowooseekers@gmail.com. Or any questions about today's episode, you can email us at comegetwoowoo@gmail.com.
Until next time, stay curious, stay open, and as always, come get woo woo with us.